Welcome to
the Plant-Based Podcast.
In case you didn't know already, plants are amazing. You can
Eat them,
wear them,
drink them,
nourish your skin with them,
grow them,
love them,
and be inspired by them. So why not join us on the Plant-Based Podcast as we speak to the movers, shakers, and growers in this amazing plant world.
This episode of the Plant-Based Podcast is brought to you by our friends at Natural Grower. Launched in 2019, their award-winning liquid fertiliser and soil conditioner is made entirely from maize. Visit naturalgrower.co.uk to nurture your soil and boost your plants and veg. Enter PBP15 for a 15% discount as a PBP subscriber.
Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. This week we have a very special Inbetweeny episode, which is 50 Reasons to Love Plants. And this has been put together by Ellen and I, so we'll both be reading out alternate groups of 5 reasons. But also there's a lot of your reasons here as well. So we asked the question on social media, why do you love plants? And the answers were amazing, from stress busting through to general well-being. It was just amazing to see all of your comments, all of those reasons, escapism, grounding. Plants are really good for us, aren't they? But not just that, it's diets. It's obviously drinking them, eating them, even wearing them as well, thanks to lovely bamboo clothing. So let me start off with some of my reasons. So reason number 1 for me is, the reason I love plants is I like new plants and innovation. And anybody that follows my journey, in this kind of horticultural world will know that I am mad keen on new developments, new plants, that is what really gives me a buzz. So reason number 1 for me is new plants. Reason number 2 is rude plants. You guessed that one. I'm just kind of fascinated by some of the plants that look rude for different reasons. Maybe sometimes they're trying to get an insect to copulate with them. Yes, so rude plants is reason number 2. Reason number 3 is weird and wacky plants. So plants that look strange ways for different reasons, or plants that smell of kind of funky things. So that is another great reason to love plants, because it's fascinating, and I learn more and more every day about amazing plants around the world that have evolved in many, many different ways. And oh my gosh, yes, I need to write a book on that, don't I? Maybe I will. Next up is old favourites. Now, this is kind of tied up in memories because, the reason I love plants is because it's part of the legacy of my grandparents. And, I was gardening with my grandma in particular. She taught me everything I know. And there's a lot of memories attached to the old favourite plants that we used to grow together. So it's not always about new plants, which I said in reason number 1. But reason number 4 is old favourites. Reason number 5 why I love plants is that you can use them artistically. So you can use them to design your space. You can fit them into different areas. There's sometimes a bit of trial and error, and I find that a little bit in my own gardening because I'm quite an impatient gardener and I tend to think that anything's possible. But plants are fascinating because there really is a plant for every spot of your garden, and it might be a plant that's native from completely the other side of the world, but it is just fascinating that these plants are discovered and then grown in completely different places, completely different climates. I love that. So Ellen's coming up with 5 reasons next.
So my first 5 reasons why we all love plants are from our wonderful listeners. And when I put out there, the question, why do you guys all love plants? I had so many responses. So I'm sorry I can't fit them all in, because of course there are way more than 50 reasons why we all love plants. And of course a lot of you also said some of the same things. So here we go. So Solange Sauris, I'm so sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. But Solange sees this as a reminder that life is ever changing. Isn't that amazing? It's so true. And the duck patch. Plants are her saviours. They give a huge sense of achievement, and that's also so very true. Chicks and veg. Plants are reasonably forgiving. I like that you've put reasonably forgiving. It depends on what plant, what situation, at what time of year. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Ali McHett, they make you feel alive. I love that. When you look at a plant, I really do think that you feel alive. And my friend over there in North Carolina, Alison Pittman, says, because they don't talk back. As did Beginning to Bloom also say the same thing. You're right. They don't talk back. Way better than kids.
So we asked the question on Facebook and we got lots and lots of different answers. So we're going to kick those off. So reason number 11 is from Gina Chambers. She says, my garden is my sanctuary and my allotment is a joy. So there you go. Well-being all way round. Helen Mason is next. She said, it's just like breathing for me. I don't have a partner or children, so I think it's my outlet for all of those emotions and feelings that make me want to nurture, create, and make plans for the future. So she's kind of living that through her garden, which is really quite fascinating, actually. It makes her happy in the process, think of what's to come, caring for it, exercising, design. It's all just brilliant. Next reason is from Yulia Gabos. They say, it makes me forget about everything else. I love learning about plants and trees, and there is always something to learn about. So, that, reason number 13, is learning. Reason number 14, the sense of excitement and expectation. This is from Richard Suggett. He's talking about watching a seed develop and grow into a plant that might produce food, look pretty, or just be a cool plant. Next up in our set of 5 is Hester McDonald. She says, it's all about knowing that the future will come, and it's about feeling grounded, literally.
That was another great 5 there from Michael. So my next 5 are going to be 5 reasons that I really love plants. And one of the first reasons is because they just bring back amazing memories. Just the fragrance of plants, the look of plants. I see plants in photographs from when I was a kid and I just think, oh my gosh, I really used to love that plant, like the gooseberries, the marigolds, cabbages, daffodils. So many of these plants remind me of a moment in my life. So memories. Another one is the aesthetic of plants in the home. They, of course, soften the environment. So you can have a lovely home, but without a plant in it, what is it? There's no home without a plant in it. Another reason is we can't breathe without them. I mean, really, this should be number 1. We can't live, we can't eat, we can't breathe, we can't drink without plants. That's house plants, it's trees, it's all kinds of plants on the whole planet. So basically, we can't breathe without them. Another one is, well, you know what? Because they make the best Instagram photos, don't they? You got to do it for the gram. But they do. Out of all of the photographs on Instagram, it's always the plants, like the landscapes with plants that look the absolute bee's knees. So do it for the gram. And another one is because you can grow them and you can use them as gifts for people. So you can propagate, or if you have a glut down the allotment or in your kitchen garden, you can give them to people. And actually, I have a friend who I met some years ago and she was a bit concerned about meeting me, and I took her a bunch of herbs from the garden, and she said when I gave those to her, she knew that I was gonna be all right.
Okay, reason 21. It's great for kids. Plants and gardening are amazing for kids to get outside, get engaging with nature, get them growing, understand where food comes from. There are so many great reasons to get gardening and plants onto the national curriculum. Next up, this is a reason I love plants, is home remedies. When I was younger, I was cooking up all sorts of crazy things in the kitchen. I was trying to make dandelion root coffee, eucalyptus mouthwash. I was fascinated by the fact that you could make different home remedies. So that is my reason 22. Next up, 23, spritz up your cooking. Now, I've always been obsessed with different flavors coming from edible flowers or different spices, different leaves. I don't like a normal salad with just an iceberg lettuce. I want to throw in some daylily flowers or some nasturtium leaves, Another reason you should love plants is you can brush your teeth with them. Did you know that? You can actually use a strawberry to clean your teeth, and likewise parsley is really good to run over your teeth and clean them, and it also freshens your breath. Another reason, which is one you might not expect, reason 25, is you can actually use plants to feed other plants, and that is quite fascinating as well. So comfrey is obviously used as a very nutritional feed for your plants. You bake that up over a few months and then give them to your plants to give them a boost. But likewise, pyrethrum is actually something that's used to deter pests and diseases, and that is obviously coming from a plant called pyrethrum.
This episode of the Plant-Based Podcast is brought to you by our friends at Natural Grower. Visit naturalgrower.co.uk to nurture your soil and boost your plants and veg.
So my next 5 are from our listeners again, who've contributed so much to this episode of the podcast. And the first one is from Amy's Allotment Adventure. She says they make you smile. They sure do. And we know that just by looking at a flower, it provokes an inner happiness, just by even looking at them. And the next one is Sean Mather, who says, because of the connection of the energy from each plant. Now, actually, in that comment was also, this might be a bit of a weird one because of the connection of the energy from each plant, but I don't think that's weird at all. Every single plant is a living thing. It's contributing and making an impact to this planet. So I completely get that. The connection is so important. Sophie Miles, she said, they make me feel closer to nature. Absolutely right. If you can hear me shuffling around, it's because I have some plants next to my bed and I just really can't stop touching them because they do make you feel closer to nature. Eleanor Herlock, she says, because they are living art. You know what? Some of the best paintings are actually based upon nature and plants. Because they are living art. It's incredible. Nature is the best artist. And Gardening Myself Sane says, because they're yummy. Not all of them, but many of them. You're right. Plants are just totally delicious. The edible ones, anyway.
Okay, so reason number 30 is houseplants. Houseplants have really taken the world by storm. Everyone loves them for their well-being properties, for how they lift decor as well. So houseplants really get my vote, and probably many of yours as well. Next up, edible flowers. I mentioned that briefly before, but I really want to dig into that a bit further. I've been obsessed with edible flowers since I was a kid, and I did a lot of work on edible flowers whilst I was at Thompson & Morgan, and I actually built the widest directory of edible flowers, so I can walk around a garden and know exactly what I can and can't eat. So I often, just walk around gardens and just snack on the blooms. Everyone's shocked. Another reason is exotics on your windowsill, and I'm talking exotic edibles. So I like the fact that you can grow your own lemongrass, ginger, basil, all those amazing flavours that can be used in cooking or in your cocktails. Now, reason 34 is plants are fascinating. The relationships that they build with insects in particular, how this evolutionary. There's some plants that will only rely on one specific creature to pollinate them. It is just absolutely incredible. And our final reason 35, is, for me, gardening is a really cool challenge. And I like that. And it doesn't always go right. But when it does, it's great. But I'm kind of learning all the time. And even with the houseplants in my house, I'm kind of learning that what I thought was a well-lit room turns out not to be when you then put a begonia in it. I'm really failing with begonias at the moment. Don't ask.
So my next 5 are 5 that I've thought of. So 5 reasons, another 5 reasons why I love plants. And the first is you can make herbal teas. And I actually thought about that today when I was unpacking some boxes after moving house. And I found a big jar full of dried chamomile flowers. And I just absolutely love herbal tea. Another one, along with like drying flowers, is pressing flowers. You can press them. Is there anything so beautiful as being able to press those flowers in a book or with a flower press? And then even framing them yourself, your own work of art on the wall. So drying and pressing flowers is such a therapeutic activity, and it looks so great. Now, another one which is really, really important is actually the community connection. So plants bring people together. So community gardens and allotments, that kind of thing. You can socialise, you can meet people and learn and be educated. So that really important community connection. Plants promote inclusivity and social, and they help loneliness, all kinds of things. So community connection. And another one is, and I thought about this one today as well, just like the herbal teas. I was in my new little back garden, and the neighbour has a beautiful little garden. I'm right smack bang in the city centre, and we got chatting about plants. So it was great to be able to chat with the neighbours, because who doesn't love talking about plants if you love plants? You know, people go on Rightmove to look inside people's houses. I'm like that nosy person with people's back gardens. So chatting with the neighbours, having that common ground is another reason to love plants. And well, my last one is you can literally bathe in them. Yeah, so you can forest bathe, of course, amongst all of the trees and all of the plants in woodlands and forests. But you can even just bathe in them in the bath. Why not just chuck some rose petals in and let all that steam bring out the beautiful oils in the petals and all that amazing fragrance. So you can literally bathe in plants.
Okay, for my final section, we've got some of your reasons. So, first of all, who have we got here? We've got Nicola Smith. She says that she loves spending time laughing, learning, and creating a lovely environment for this one. And she's actually attached a picture of her mum in the garden. So we can use gardens to care for other people. Plant Daddy podcast come in at number 41, and they're talking about stress relief. They find gardening the perfect antidote to this busy life we all tend to lead. Roslyn Hindry says she has a few reasons. She loves creating a beautiful environment for herself and her husband to sit and relax. Their garden is mainly about attracting wildlife, which she also adores watching. And it's important for them to grow fruit and vegetables that they can go out and pick and preserve every year. And they can then enjoy it all year as well. Dorset Martin is next. It's taught him patience, and he loves the miracle of a tiny seed growing into a plant. And then finally, at number 45, Lisa MG says, the peace. It's like my own little world. I love nurturing the plants and chatting to the bugs and critters. Ooh.
So the last 5 of the 50 reasons why we all love plants. are from you guys, the listeners, and there's another 5 amazing reasons to finish this episode off. So the first one is 159 Steph, who says they can be very tactile and all of like the textures. That's so true, just touching them. I mean, it just promotes so much well-being inside you, just being able to touch them, look at them, smell them. Amazing. Julia Wisdom says they are life. You're right. They are life. They're alive. They're living. And they're life. They are everything on this planet. James's allotment says they are less aggy than humans. Unless you have a maidenhair fern, because I think she's the diva amongst all divas. More of a diva than Beyonce and more of a diva than my niece. Sorry, Shannon, if you're listening. 5 Minute Gardener says they help to reduce your carbon footprint and they also support wildlife. That's so important. So important. I think I might have even added an extra one in there with support wildlife, but all of that is one, you know. And Sharon Haddon also says that she loves the diversity in colour. That's so true. What else do you get where you have all of these remarkable choices in colour? So many varieties to spice up your life. So that's 50 reasons why we love plants. But there could be 50 more. There could be 150 more. I reckon there's 150,000 more. Maybe that's an exaggeration. But there are so many reasons to love plants. So we hope you've enjoyed the 50 reasons. Thank you everyone for contributing as well. If you don't already love plants, we really hope that this has persuaded you that you really should. And hopefully there's many things for even if you do already love plants to think about when you're in your garden as well, you know, when you're enjoying plants. Basically, plants are the best and plants really do make people happy.
This episode of the Plant-Based Podcast is brought to you by our friends at Natural Grower. Launched in 2019, their award-winning liquid fertiliser and soil conditioner is made entirely from maize. Naturally rich in nitrogen, potash, phosphate and other trace elements that plants and vegetables love. It is approved by the Soil Association, Vegan Society and Organic Farmers and Growers. Visit naturalgrower.co.uk to nurture your soil and boost your plants and veg. Enter PBP15 for a 15% discount as a PBP subscriber.
Thanks for listening. You should now be at least 25% more obsessed by plants.
Please follow us on social media. You'll find us by typing in the Plant-Based Podcast.
We also have a fabulous website. Go to theplantbasedpodcast.net.
So tell your friends, leave a review. Why not write a letter to your local MP? Please spread the word about the Plant-Based Podcast.
Oh yes, see you next time, plant friends. The theme music for the Plant-Based Podcast is an excerpt from the song Grow by Mikey James, and our editing is done by Gareth Patch of Semi Echo.